I hope that Farrand Hall is just maybe inspirational and maybe also aspirational.
Welcome to Five Star Talks. I'm your host, Carl Thornton. This podcast is dedicated to enhancing the already great little village of Colon, Michigan. In this episode, I spoke with James Gray from Farrand Hall. We talked about his upbringing near Chicago, his circuitous route to get here, and how Farrand Hall started out for him and Jacob. We spoke about the high-end dinners that they've been serving the last several years, their current and ongoing expansion, their farmers market, and their Saturday cafe, now open every Saturday this season from 8 to 2. I hope you enjoy.
Hello, welcome to Farrand Hall. This is James Gray. You're at Farrand Hall.
Oh, that's pretty good.
About to do a podcast with Carl Thornton.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Pizza, pepperoni, sauce, cheese.
All right, I'm sitting here at Farrand Hall with Mr. James Gray. Thank you for doing this. I do appreciate it.
Of course.
I know you're busy.
So I'm from Chicago, originally in Chicago suburbs. I've lived in the city. That's where I was most recently. But we bought this property, like I said, about 6 years ago. And the idea was to have, a little weekend getaway for us. That's what this was supposed to be with property.
When did you make the turn from, okay, we're gonna jump into this?
About 2 years ago, the dinners that we were doing, again, because I'm in the food business and in Chicago in the Midwest, I just happen to know, I know a lot of chefs and, a lot of restaurateurs. And so, the idea was just to do that for fun. And maybe we would make a couple of dollars off of it, and those couple dollars we just reinvest back into the property. But probably a couple years ago, when the entire summer dinner series sold out before it ever began, we were like, well, maybe we need to look at this in a slightly different way.
Right.
But the first building that we put up was really just kind of designed to be additional space for events, for us to, sell the products that we were bringing through Farrand Hall, and maybe to have like a little lounge or bar area in there. So we knew that there was another building that would be in the future, but that first building was really just kind of a shell of a building, just so that we had some interior space.
So how many could you seat? So now you seat people for your dinners, correct?
Yeah, we don't seat people inside yet. That's one of the big things that's changing. So typically we would have a large tent over the gravel area, and that's where people dine.
Okay.
And even if it's raining and the weather's not so great, you're under a tent, and the sights are on. That has kind of always just been
Right.
How we've done it. It's not ideal when the weather's not so great, but by and large, people tend to really enjoy it regardless.
Right.
So
It's an experience.
it's an experience, yeah.
So you will be seating inside, and how many will you be able to?
So so now the new building, which is just being done now, that will be able to seat about 40 people inside just that building.
When does your season start? You told me a little
It'll
bit.
start June 2nd.
And they're all planned out already. You've got
The entire 2023 dinner series is about 99% complete right now.
how often are your dinners?
They'll be every Saturday.
Every Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. I did not know that.
We release tickets now by season. So there's the summer season and then there's the fall season. So summer season is June, July, and August. And so those are the tickets that are on sale right now. We are probably about 65% sold.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And this year we also added memberships. So you could become a member of Farrand Hall and you get discounts and perks, and you get early access to dinners and events if you want to buy more tickets. So we have about 35 members of Farrand Hall right now.
Is there a website, James, that we should?
Yeah, farrandhall.com,
Simple.
and all of the information is there. Memberships are still available for a little while until the dinners really start to sell out, and then we'll probably cut off membership.
Yeah.
But that's been great because we have probably, I don't know, I would say probably 20% of the people that come to these dinners come on a fairly regular basis. As you know, these projects are not inexpensive. They're very expensive. And so we just decided there were enough people around here that liked what we did, and that kept coming back over and over again. And so, I said, well, I'm going to put this out there to a few people and see, what they say. And the response to private investment was, and I've been involved in many private investment deals in Chicago with groups that I work with professionally. Raising money is not easy.
Yeah.
It's a pretty intense. Yeah. You gotta have a thick skin for that kind of thing. But we had a number of people that just almost immediately said, whatever you need, let's make this happen for you guys. There are plans.
Good.
We're investigating a number of opportunities right now that, if we can make these things work out, that would, be yet again a whole nother shift in what this property is, and what it becomes for this community, or for people who are traveling, or people who are just looking to get away for a nice relaxing
weekend.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we cap at 80 people during the summer.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of our sweet spot. We've learned over the past, we're going into our 5th year of doing these dinners, and
80 seems like a fairly large, intimate party, as opposed to 300 people. Do you have, for lack of a better a stable of chefs you go back to, or are you always looking?
Yeah, I mean, I have a number of good pals in the Chicago area, and a couple guys up in Detroit that we really like working with. But the goal is to constantly be bringing in new people.
Right.
So you will see some of the same people year after year, and I think we kind of gauge that every year to see what people like, who they liked the most. We know that, Danny Espinoza out of Chicago, he was here a few years ago, and people talked about that dinner. They've been talking about it, for 2 years. It's fun to see that kind of thing, like people really gravitate to a certain chef, whether it's food, whether it's personality or whatever it is.
Does the chef typically come out and interact?
Yeah, for sure. And so we had him out again this past year. Like I said, his dinner sold out in record time, and we're going to have him back again next year, and or I should say this year. And this year he's bringing a chef buddy of his out of New York, who's a Michelin-starred chef. So there'll be a collaboration. So that dinner will be a little more expensive, but it'll certainly be a very, very special evening. Like I said, this is the first year that will extend the season all the way through fall now, because we can do that. So yeah, I think we have, oh boy, I don't know, maybe about 30 or 35 dinners scheduled for this year. We have 80 people, but we're not sending out 80 plates each course. We're sending out 10 plates or 10 platters. And that's sort of, again, that's part of kind of the experience of, sharing, gathering, sitting around a table with people. Farrand Hall is about an experience, and it just happens to be an experience around food.
Right.
There are places where the experience around food is a big part of why you're going there. But it's everything that goes into that, from the time you walk into the door, through the service, through the design, through, all of it. And that's kind of how I see Farrand Hall. Where in the world are you going to go have a dinner with a Michelin-starred chef or a James Beard winning chef or any of these caliber chefs that we're bringing in? I had somebody reach out to me today. They said, we live in Baltimore, but we love Jonathan Zaragoza, and we want to come to his dinner in July. Are there rooms at the house, or can
Yes,
you
I have one.
recommend? Yeah, can you recommend any place to stay? And unfortunately, we don't. When the chefs are here, they take the house, so we can't provide guest accommodations. But I always say there's Airbnb and VRBOs around, and the sooner you could book that, the better.
Your dinners are Saturday nights, so right?
There's Saturdays.
Saturday. What
Yeah.
time?
Basically 6 to 9. We allow them to come between 5 and 6. So they have an hour to walk the property, see the house, look at gardens, etc. Meet up with their friends and chill. I ask before every dinner, how many is it your first time at a dinner at Farrand Hall? Last year, we saw consistently 65% of the people was their first time. So that's amazing.
That's huge.
It's just insane. So that was another reason why we knew the expansion was probably necessary. Right. A lot of the images you see on our Instagram, it's Jacob. Well, Jacob's younger and he's cuter and everybody likes him. I'm older, I'm not as cute. Like I'm starting to fade here. Everybody thinks Jacob's amazing, so we put his face out there as much as possible.
Is he artistic as well?
Jacob has multiple degrees in art, an undergrad and a graduate degree. And pretty much any of the sort of creative aspect of Farrand Hall is all him.
Wow.
Yeah, so he does a lot of different things.
5-Star Talks is sponsored by 5-Star Pizza in Lower, Southwest Michigan, and LaGrange, Indiana. Stop in and get yours today. I agree with a lot of what you're saying. That's what it's been my argument for many years. What Colin needs is 2 or 3 hungry young entrepreneurs.
I think these activities of just getting people together just could be really amazing for this community. Yeah. We don't post menus until 30 days before. So this is the other thing. This is the other thing. Like if you're not sure about food, this is never going to work for you because you got to buy tickets today. You won't even see the menu until 30 days before the event. That's part of it.
So you have no idea what's coming down the pike.
Correct.
I didn't know that. I guess I thought you picked a menu.
Yeah. No, some of those menus we'll get some menus, and when we do, we post them. But for the most part, the experience is you're coming to eat at Farrand Hall, and you're going to eat what Farrand Hall, what that chef
right.
gives you.
And if you don't like it, it's still an experience.
Yeah, we promote so many of the businesses through Farrand Hall. If I get a pizza from you, I post it. If I get a wrap from the Magic Capital Grill, I take a picture and I post it. If we go to Curly's, I take pictures and I post them.
You have to bring me your favorite pizza and I'll switch you. I'll swap you. Hey, Jess, do we have that?
Did you bring me pizza? Oh, God, this is like, yeah.
Don't tell Jacob.
These will be gone before he gets home. Listen, this stuff right here is crack. It's probably the main reason I don't go to 5-Star very often, because walking out of there without 1 or 2 of these is impossible. Thanks. This is amazing stuff.
Yeah. That's been a crazy add-on. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, this
and fun.
This to me is like a whole thing onto itself. Like she could have her own storefront and sell cheesecakes, and I think people would come from miles to get this cheesecake. You could probably make millions off of this cheesecake.
Get to work on that.
Yeah. But that's the thing. I mean, you know that when these folks come in for magic, they want things.
Yeah, they want things.
We are in the marketing world and product world. We call it the product to memorialize the experience. What that means is, like, if I go somewhere and I buy your T-shirt because I had fun there and I thought it was cool, it's every time I wear that T-shirt, I'm thinking back to that experience that I had, to that thing. So that's why we have the candles and the cutting boards and all of the things that we do.
Are you guys going to do a farmers market this year?
Yeah, we're going to do it a little bit differently. Last year we only did it once a month. But this year, we we're going to be open every Saturday to the public, Saturday morning and afternoon. So people will be able to come here, and I think we'll do kind of like a real simple light menu. We're partnering with some local-ish people to bring some stuff in that we'll be able to do, and then we'll work with Butternut Sustainable Farms again out of Centerville. They're a small organic farm that grows for a lot of Chicago chefs, and so we've been talking to John about being a drop off for like a farmer's box on Saturdays, so people can order like their farmer's box, kind of like a CSA kind of thing, and then they would come to Farrand Hall. They would pick it up here. So we're thinking about doing that, but we won't do. So in the past, we would have like maybe 10, 12 vendors here under the big tent. We're not going to do that anymore. I think what we're going to do is just maybe always have maybe a couple of vendors on a Saturday, and that'll rotate every Saturday.
Gotcha.
It'll be some different people, and then it entices people to come and see who's going to be there
Right,
every
who's there this
Saturday,
week.
and support a lot more of the sort of independent makers and producers. But then we'll be open probably from 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. every Saturday, so people will be able to come down here and grab a 2 spoons cinnamon roll and sit and hang out, kind of like a little cafe. We're calling it our Saturday Cafe.
Oh, nice.
But it's the only day we'll be open to the public.
Got it.
Yeah.
Like where did we talk about like where you grew up or high school or college and how you got into the food business in the first place? And
Yeah.
what was your path?
Yeah, my path is like one of those crazy windy ones. I grew up in Northwest Indiana, just outside of Chicago. A very sort of working class family, not very much money, and went to a fairly small high school. Actually, Dave Kuhn grew up in the town right next to me.
Oh, he grew up in Hammond.
Yeah, so and I grew up in Whiting, so I went to high school, Whiting High School, and small school, so everybody knew each other, and fairly small community, even though we technically were a suburb of Chicago, and the Chicago skyline was always right there. So, and then I had family in Chicago, and so every year I would go into Lincoln Park and visit some family members for the Air and Water Show, and I think that's where I kind of got my taste of the big city. So the second I graduated from high school, I jumped ship. I went to a small college in central Indiana, and about a year in, I realized that was not the place for me, both culturally as well as just academically and my interest intellectually, not the place for me. So left, and then moved up to Minneapolis, Minnesota with a friend of mine. And then I ended up going to the University of Minnesota and finishing my undergrad in English.
5-Star Talks is sponsored by Graminetti Cheesecakes. Stop in and get yours today.
So in 2000, I guess it was to the end of 2016. It was right around Christmas, and I remember sitting with my boss at that time, and we were talking about investments and raising money and growing this company. And I just thought, oh my God, I cannot do this.
Did you just hit you at this meeting?
It's just like, I was just like, I'm working a lot. And by all means, look, I'm a VP of a company. So great salary and great benefits and, great. Everything's great. And at the end of the day, what am I going to take away from this? And then just, really thinking about like, what could I do to help other people do this better? And so that's really what was kind of going through my head. And so I think it was like, maybe like literally days before Christmas in 2016, I sat with my boss and I said, this is gonna be it. This is gonna be it. And he was like, no, don't leave. And I was like, no. And he's like, what are you gonna do? And I said, no idea. I think I'm just gonna I think I can help people, and I knew I wanted to do consulting, and I felt like I could be really beneficial to a lot of people in the food business. Yeah, I called my partner Jacob, and I said, "Hey, I just quit." Like days before Christmas, we were in the middle of buying,
Presents
this
will be less.
place, and I, it was just like, "Oh no, what?" I said, "I'm just gonna consult." So, Jacob and I were, I'm not gonna say surprised, but we were, our experience here, and how the community has embraced us and made us feel very quickly welcomed and like we were a part of this community, even though we literally had like no connection here whatsoever. I still talk about that to this day. I have people that I know I can text or call like at any time and be like, "Hey, I need this, or I need help with this, or where do I get this, or whatever." And there are people here that literally will jump in a car and be here in minutes to help me because I asked them,
Me, James, it has truly been the best town that I've ever lived in. And I love Ovid Elsie because of just my friends and my family, her family. We went to the same high school, but with the lake and the Chicago people and the magic and the Amish, I just think we can I think we are building something. People might not see it incrementally here and incrementally there, and you guys have been a huge part. Part.
I hope that Farrand Hall is just maybe inspirational and maybe also aspirational for people. Like they see what we're doing, and maybe think, okay, well, maybe we can have other things and different things, and and see this as like you put your heart and your soul into it, and you work really hard, and you surround yourself with great people who are willing to help you, and don't be afraid to ask for help, and anything can happen.
And I think we can be. My analogy is couple friends of mine own bowling alleys. Gone. Golf courses, gone. But if you're the last man standing with a golf course, and I think Colin can be that. We can be a lake town, and can we have the little bookstore when all the bookstores are gone? I just got to find that guy that wants to make no money and sit there with a cat.
Exactly. Yeah, they're out there.
I think they're there.
They're out there.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're out there.
And I'm being facetious, but I'm kind of serious.
Books and plants. I mean, people literally are opening stores in Chicago around books and plants.
Right.
And people are going there and buying them. So, anything is possible. I figured books were done.
I did too.
But they're still around.
They're still around, and
that's why that Forbes article about younger people moving to smaller towns. If you could have this, our friends that come out here from Chicago and are just like, how can I make this happen for me? Yeah.
I truly appreciate you taking your time to let us in. I know you're busy.
It's okay.
I'm going to go tell Annette to call you about...
Yeah, tell her.
I'm just kidding.
Tell her. No, man, let's build a cheesecake company.
Let's build a
I get jazzed about building companies. That's what I get jazzed about. So how can we sell this to 1 million people?
No, I'm the same. I love the entrepreneur, and I want more entrepreneurs in town. And I thank you. What you guys have done for Colin, in my opinion, has been... it's incredible. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that you and I don't even know. The plumber, the electrician, that are helping.
Yeah.
Truly helping. Everybody help. It's circular.
Absolutely.
But it's a unique experience out here. Like I told you, I sent Jenna and a friend of hers, and they loved it.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad.
Once again, thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Of course.
We'll put your table back together for you.
Don't worry about it.
All right. Thanks, James. I appreciate it.
Thank you.